So the idea behind sequencing with pictures is simple. It allows the photographer to draw the audience into the items within the sequence that the photographer wants them to see. It's pretty simple. It's a technique used to draw attention to the photographer's intent when they took the pictures as to what they truly think that's important inside the picture or unique about it. Take, for instance, the willow. The wide shot taken here shows just a bush, which establishes the photographer's first impression in the sequence. There appears to be nothing special or unique about the bush, so the wide shot is simply established that it's just a bush and that's all. It's a picture of a bush. Well, when you use that as a wide shot, that's an establishment picture. It's called an establisher. Now, as the photographer draws the audience into the second shot of the sequence, the medium shot, more details about the bush begin to emerge. The medium shot begins to show the audience there's more to this item in the picture than just being a bush. There's detail that the photographer wants the audience to see. Perhaps it's the seeds on the end of the willow pods or the willow branches in which the photographer is trying to show the audience. Medium shots aren't detailed enough to allow the audience to truly view what the photographer wants them to see, but they can begin to guess as to what the photographer's intent of the picture or of the sequence is. Finally, with the last shot in the sequence, the tight shot, the audience clearly views what the photographer's vision was for the sequence. With the tight shot, the photographer clearly shows the audience what he wanted them to see. In this case, the photographer's vision for this sequence was to clearly show the seeds on the willow seed pods. Perhaps in the previous medium shot, the audience may have guessed that it was either that or maybe he was going to wanted them to see the willow branches. The tight shot is the one that clearly identifies what the photographer originally wants the viewers to see or the audience to see. As you can see, using the sequencing technique, it allows the photographer to control what he wants or she wants the audience to see in their pictures. Sequencing draws the audience into a true vision of what the photographer had envisioned in the first place when he first saw the willow bush. From the wide shot to the medium shot and finally to the tight shot, the photographer controlled the audience visual experience through sequencing. Now that is truly the definition of storytelling using sequencing in pictures. Let's see if you can figure out what the photographer's true visual intent was using the next few examples. The first is the mountain. What do you think the photographer wants the audience to see in the sequence? Now in the next sequence, you'll also notice that when presenting sequenced pictures for storytelling, the length of each picture can make a significant difference in the visual experience. Normally, the human eye will succumb to boredom after about 3 to 4 seconds, which is why visual storytellers change shots in sequences in that frequency. If the wide shot is presented too long, the audience can become bored. Likewise, if the wide shot is presented too short, they can become confused. So remember, as a visual storyteller going forward, common practice is to watch the sequences and judge the boredom factor for each type of shot. In other words, if you want your wide shot, your establishment shot, to be up longer than 3 or 4 seconds, it shouldn't be boring. If it needs to be up for 5 seconds, that's okay. But generally, our eyes get bored after about 3 or 4 seconds, so you'd want to change the shot to the medium shot. And the same thing, and it's a repeat the process over and over and over, so the viewer or the audience doesn't get bored. It's about 3 to 4 seconds is the common range for our eyes, our human eyes, to get bored. So remember that. What do you think the visual intent is of the photographer of taking pictures of a cruise ship in port. What does he really want you to see? Well, you'll find out if you watch it in sequence. Finally, as we explore the cabin in the woods, the audience is exposed to a series of sequenced pictures that tells a story. That's visual storytelling, and that's what our goal is. Using this technique, the audience can determine exactly what a story is about or what it could be about. The best use of sequencing pictures allows the photographer to tell a story using only visual representation with perhaps maybe some music accompaniment, but no words. We'll discuss words when we address the topic of video sequencing later.